It was a dark and stormy night, and John was working late at the office. The rain was coming down in sheets, and the wind was howling outside. John was in charge of modeling horror creature for a new game, and he was so focused on his work that he didn't notice the time passing by. As the night wore on, the storm grew more intense. The lightning flashed outside, illuminating the office in a bright white light. John was so absorbed in his work that he didn't even notice the power flickering on and off. Finally, John finished his work and decided to head home. He stepped outside into the storm, pulling his coat tightly around him. The wind was so strong that it nearly knocked him over, and the rain was coming down so hard that he could barely see in front of him. John made his way to his apartment, which was located in a quiet part of town. As he walked, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He turned around, but there was no one there. When he got to his apartment, John was relieved to be out of the storm. He took off his coat and sat down on the couch, feeling exhausted. But then he heard a noise outside. It sounded like something scratching at the door. John got up to investigate, but when he opened the door, there was no one there. He shrugged it off and went back to the couch. But then he heard the noise again. This time, it was louder. John was starting to get scared. He tried to ignore the noise, but it was getting harder and harder to do so. Finally, he got up and looked out the window. That's when he saw it. The horror creature he had modeled for the game was standing in the woods outside his apartment. John tried to convince himself that it was just his imagination, but he couldn't shake the feeling that it was real. He saw the creature again on his way to work the next day, and then again outside his apartment that night. After several more scary encounters, John was attacked by the creature at night in his apartment. He tried to fight it off, but it was too strong. The creature had long, sharp claws that tore through John's flesh, leaving deep gashes in his arms and legs. John screamed for help, but no one came. Finally, the creature stopped attacking John and disappeared into the night. John was left lying on the floor, bleeding and in pain. He knew he had to get help, but he was too weak to move. The next day, John didn't show up at work, and his colleagues were worried. They called the police, who arrived at John's apartment to find scratch marks and bits of broken nails inside the apartment door. John was nowhere to be found. The police searched the woods outside of John's apartment, but they found nothing. John's sister was devastated when she heard the news. She wished she had talked to him more and tried to help him with his work-life balance. She also wished she had invited him over to family board game nights more often, so that he wouldn't have been so lonely. Years went by, and the game that John had worked on became a huge success. But some people say that if you play the game in VR, you can still see John's ghost wandering the woods outside his apartment, looking for the creature that killed him. This story was written with a ChatGPT-based AI, which you can also find on my blog, linked in the description. The background art was AI generated based on prompts taken directly from the story. I will also be releasing a video going into depth about how I prompted the AI to write the story and analyzing how it performed. If you subscribe and click the bell, you'll be notified as soon as that video is posted. If you liked the story and would like to hear more of these, please leave a like. Also let me know in the comments what you thought of this AI written story. Was it good? Or do you think human authors still do better? As an author myself, I'm curious about your thoughts. Thank you for watching.